My name is Marci Crouch, and this is my Capstone project. I'm going to begin with my Showcase Leadership project, which focuses on technology-based learning and engagement. Last year, my school implemented the one-to-one technology initiative in which each student received a school-issued Chromebook to be used in classroom instruction. Transitioning from a traditional classroom setting had been a challenge, and as proven from our pilot year at our middle school, simply placing a device in a student's hand did not necessarily mean an increase in engagement or motivation. Technology integration is a powerful tool that engages students and allows them to become creators and critics instead of just consumers, according to Marian Schaffner, Technology Integration Specialist. Before implementing technology and amplifying traditional lessons, I decided to contact my school technology specialist for technology platform recommendations. They recommended Nearpod, Schoology, Google Suite quizzes, among many others. Nearpod was especially interesting in that it offers many interactive features such as collaboration boards, quizzes, polls, the ability to be student-paced or live, and many other features. According to a 2-year independent study at Dakota State University, Nearpod limits distraction during instruction by broadcasting content and interactive learning elements to student devices in real time. They discovered when comparing a Nearpod lesson to a traditional classroom activity, approximately 50% of students said that they participate more, while about 40% learn more when using Nearpod. These results are not shocking considering that Jair Brophy argued that effective classroom management should be designed to maximize student engagement in order to minimize misconduct. My plan was to enhance AP and traditional classroom units through technology, which involved converting some traditional lessons into Nearpod lessons. I would also be implementing collaborative projects in Google Suites, which inspired me to obtain my Google Educator certification. I would also consistently use Schoology as a learning platform, which was a school-wide policy. After bolstering my traditional unit with these technologies, I presented each lesson and asked students to complete a feedback form on that lesson specifically that focused on engagement and learning. According to a survey of 102 students, 54% believe technology in the classroom made them more engaged, 52% believe technology in the classroom improved their learning, and 68% enjoyed Nearpod lessons more than traditional classroom instruction. Overall, student feedback was positive. When asked how technology impacted them this semester, the majority of students replied that technology had made all of their classwork more accessible and that it gave them more time to study outside of the classroom. They also stated that they felt more engaged and were more efficient when it came to completing assignments. They expressed that they enjoy having more access to resources than ever. When asked for recommendations, students actually requested to use Quizlet and Nearpod more often. When they asked to make a connection between technology use in the classroom and their postgraduate plans, the majority of students were able to make a specific and valuable association. After receiving 50 responses from teachers and administration who either implemented technology in the classroom or had witnessed technology use in the classroom, 66% said that technology had made them more effective and efficient teacher. 70% said that it allowed them to personalize learning for individual students. 68% said that technology in the classroom improved the timeliness of assessment feedback, and 74% said that technology in the classroom positively impacted their students' engagement. As you can see, there was a majority positive impact on all stakeholders that implemented technology in the classroom. While being relevant and timely in modern classrooms, this is likely to continue to have a strong impact on students. And here are my sources. I'll now be discussing my research-based leadership project, which is the response to intervention reading strategy and program impacts on the academic readiness of English language learners. The increase of enrolled English language learners, or students with limited English proficiency, has led to more attention being paid to gap groups that are normally overlooked. According to the Kentucky Interim Commissioner of Education, Wayne Lewis, our expectation must be that all of our students can learn at high levels, regardless of income, gender, race, ethnicity, or disability status. It is a school's responsibility to identify approaches, curricula, and strategies for meeting students' needs. This study was designed to explore the effects of reading RTI programs on secondary ELL students in an effort to meet college readiness benchmarks. The results of this study may interest those who are trying to find cost-effective ways to improve English education for ESL students. In 2017-2018 school year, in Kentucky, only 5.1% of English learners were academic ready, while 5% were career ready and 39% were English proficient. Grace County High School is one of the 112 schools in the state identified as a targeted support and improvement school due to one or more student gaps performing lower in the lowest 5%. One of these underperforming groups was the English language learners. In 2018, 13 students in the ELL program took the state-mandated ACT during March of their junior year. Data analysis was conducted collaboratively between the testing coordinator, principal, and the 11th grade PLC, which included myself. We discovered that on the reading portion of the ACT, 54% scored novice, 23 scored apprentice, 23 scored proficient, while no student scored distinguished. This means that only 3 students met benchmark, while the majority scored 5 or more points below the benchmark in Kentucky. In 2017-18, the same EL group I mentioned above essentially remained stagnant the entire year, with only a 1-point average increase on the reading portion of CERT. We use a formative ACT progress monitoring system called the College Equipped Readiness Tool, which translates to CERT. Progress monitoring is performed 3 times a year during the fall, winter, and spring, with formative quizzes given between and also using ACT-released exams. After each testing window, the 11th grade PLC, accompanied by an administrator, discussed data trends. Throughout this project, progress monitoring was analyzed by myself, the junior English RTI team, the TESOL instructor, and the assistant principal. We discussed and analyzed data twice after each assessment. Instruction was carried out during RTI time by mentors while being supervised by an RTI instructor. Instruction was also delivered during the students' inclusive English classroom. Instruction was developed by the 11th grade RTI team, while the materials were prepared cooperatively between 11th grade PLC members and RTI supervisors. I will begin with a review of the literature, starting with Reading Strategies by Sakisko and Matikiza. This article, the researchers specifically looked at reading strategies used by ESL students, as they found that many of these learners struggle to understand exam questions and are unprepared for their reading demands during their first years at university. However, teachers can develop comprehension ability through creating awareness, attention, intentionality, and control. Next is Children's Informational Picture Books with Secondary ESL Classroom by Hadaway and Monday. Studies have proven that the more background knowledge a student has, the easier it is for them to understand a text. The authors collaborated with an elementary school teacher to incorporate informational picture books into ESL instruction. They chose this format of information because the children's books provides chunks of text in a digestible format, accompanied by illustrations and visual aids. Next is ELL high school students' metacognitive awareness of reading strategy use in reading proficiency. The author suggests that this is an issue that deserves national attention since there has been a 21% increase of ELLs over the decade, but yet this group receives little scholarly attention. They determined that metacognition is often synonymous with reading awareness because proficient readers use these reading strategies to understand and evaluate texts. This is especially important when approaching a text that is not in their first language. The study revealed that the students who frequently use strategies achieve standard status and that exposure to reading strategies increase the students' overall confidence in their reading ability. Next is creating intentional communities to support English language learners in the classroom. The author mentions that it usually takes 5 to 7 years of English exposure before ELL students can meet the standards by their English-speaking peers. This increases accountability on teachers to make sure these students are meeting proficiency requirements for high school graduation in a language that is foreign to them, and they have half the time to complete this task. They created what was called Jumpstart files, where students were given a target or a topic in advance, and they would create a Jumpstart packet that included a collective preview of materials for the English language learner to take home. Next is PALS by Thorius and Graf. They created PALS and encourages small group interactions that revolve around shared texts. They are strategies that are proven to improve students' reading fluency and comprehension. One strategy that I adapted is called Partner Reading with Retell, which begins with a student reading for 5 minutes and serving as a model. Then another student reads the same text back. Next, the students shrink the text by taking turns summarizing or retelling what they read. This can be performed on whole text or done paragraph by paragraph. Another strategy includes the students relaying predictions to one another at certain points in the reading. Next is Cantrell and Waller Preparatory Services. They encourage the use of strategies based on fluency and speed. The strategy that they encouraged ELL students to use was to start with passage 1 and 4 on the reading ACT, intentionally skipping passages 2 and 3. This would allow the student to focus and divide their time equally between the two typically easiest passages, therefore resulting in a benchmark score or close to. So the procedures that I would implement: we began with a pre-assessment, which consisted of 40 questions and a 35-minute reading period, plus any accommodations, which included extended time, time and a half, and a word-to-word translator dictionary. The methods that we used after that began with our Jumpstart packets that consisted of vocabulary, context, and strategies that they would need to approach the passage. Then we moved to partner reading with Retell, in which we practiced restating the main ideas of each passage. We also incorporated picture books and elementary school books to maintain fluency and work on language development. Then we moved to Passage ID, which is a strategy in which students are able to identify the types of strategy or the types of passage, which then would impact their strategy that they used. We also worked with the Blossom method, which included giving the student a question stem. This helped them with question type approach as well as fluency. And then we would analyze the question type trends to see if they were missing a certain type of question and define strategies that we could incorporate to address those needs. And then we incorporated the pacing strategies, which address fluency and as well as strategy needs in order to try and get as close to the benchmark point as possible. Then we gave students a post-assessment test, which was also 40 questions and 35 minutes plus any accommodations. Both of these tests were released ACT exams. Not only were we hoping that these would refine reading and language skills, but also create an intentional, diversified learning environment for ESL students. The target group was classified as 11th grade English students whose native language was not English. Participants were involved in the steps within the classroom and during RTI. The timeline was August to October, but will be continually tracked until the March 10 date. Here are the students' individual scores and their progress. As you can see, 83% of students improved their scores with a 4.5 increase as an average. And we had a 4-point increase overall between our pre and post assessment as a group. We also increased our apprentice scores by 17% while decreasing our novice 17%, which consists of moving a student into the apprentice category and out of the novice category. Students were asked to reflect on strategies that they found that they believed to be the most effective. They believe the Jumpstart packets, partner reading with Retell, and the Blossom method helpful, with pacing strategies being the most helpful. We then asked students if they believe that these strategies help to improve their reading ability, and the majority claimed that yes, that they believe that it did improve their reading ability. College readiness means more than meeting a benchmark. This achievement may create many opportunities for ELL students when considering higher education and careers. Creating an intentional learning community while simultaneously learning and implementing reading strategies has shown to benefit the student both academically and professionally. Hopefully, this is a projection for a gradual increase in scores, resulting in a higher percent of proficient and distinguished ELL readers in March. Not only that, but providing equal chance of success for English learners in assisting in transitioning to postgraduate college or careers. Here are my references, and thank you for your time.